Hey guys, I'm back. This is example 3, section 7-5, factoring trinomials. Here's another example I want you to copy in your notes, and then afterwards I'm going to have you do the try it example 3, which is on page 154 still of your workbook. There's also an A and B there. So let's go ahead and do this problem the same way we did the last ones. First of all, the first thing you do when you factor any polynomial is you look to see, is there a GCF in the 3 in all the terms? And there isn't. The numbers are 1, 5, and -6. None of them have a common factor. And is there a common variable in all 3? X squared, x, and no variable at all? No, there's nothing. There's no GCF that I can factor out. Therefore, to factor this, I'm going to factor into 2 binomials. So let's go ahead and do that now real quickly. And since this is the third time, we can do it a little bit quicker. I'm going to start with step 1 and doing the x method. First of all, remember that it's ax squared plus bx plus c. A is 1, b is 5, and c is -6. So now that I know that, I can go ahead and do my x method. I'm going to draw my x. Again, make sure you're copying this down. We're going to be having a quiz on this probably next week, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not sure what day. I'll let you know. I'll give you a couple days ahead of time notice. There will be no retakes for quizzes since the situation that we're in. I will be giving no retakes for quizzes. So I'm going to give a date and a time. Hopefully everybody can do it on that date and time. And if not, I'm not sure yet what we're going to do. It's if you can't do it, I might give you a second attempt. And if you can't do the second attempt, it will go down as a 0 in your grade book. So we need to make sure that we're always checking our remind and always checking our Google Classroom and everything else, and emails. Okay, so let's do this. So times goes on top, addition sign goes on the bottom, the C term goes up here, the B term goes on the bottom, the C term is -6, that goes up here, the B term is 5. So we're going to do the same thing. What we want to do is find the factor pairs, the two numbers you multiply together to get -6, and then at the same time, when you add the same two numbers, you're going to get +5. So again, this is step 1. Step 2, remember step 2, we did a little table that you don't really have to make the table, but if it helps, go ahead and do it. We're going to find the factors of -6 this time. They have to multiply to get -6. So right here, we're talking about multiplying. Factors mean multiplying. In order to add together to be positive, add to 5, +5. So that's the table that I'm going to make. And then it's simply guess and check. That's all it is. Again, you don't have to make a table. Sometimes people can look at the numbers and come up with the factor pairs that work. So this time, if I multiply two numbers to get -6, don't we know that if you multiply any two numbers to get a negative answer, don't one of them have to be negative and one has to be positive? That's the only way you can multiply two numbers to get -6. So when I list my factor pairs, one of them has to be negative. I'm just not going to make them negative yet. I'm going to wait till I figure out which ones add together to get +5. So here again, guess and check. So 1 times 6 and then 2 times 3 are the only factor pairs of 6. One of them has to be negative. Now, to multiply them to get -6, one of them has to be negative, one of them has to be positive. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. Let's add these together. If it was -1, if it was 1 plus -6, isn't that -5? That doesn't work. What if it was -1 plus +6? What's that equal to? Ah, look at that. I got the answer on the first try. Which means is that these factor pairs here should be -1 times +6 is equal to -6, and over here it's -1 plus 6 equals +5. Here we go, we found it on the first try. Sometimes it works out that way, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. These are my factor pairs, -1 and +6. These are the only factor pairs that work. So I'm going to put the answers back up here. -1 and 6. Again, I could put 6 here and -1 here, it doesn't really matter. That's it, that's my answer. My answer is going to be 2 binomials. Remember, to get the first term, x squared, it's going to be x times x. Right? X times x is x squared. And then we found the next two numbers in the binomials to complete the factoring. and it's -1 and 6. Again, I can put +6 here and -1 here, or -1 here and +6 here. It doesn't really matter which order you put them in. It's multiplication. So since it's -1, I'm going to put x minus 1. Since it's a positive 6, I'm going to put plus 6. Again, you can do box method with these to check and see if it does really equal x squared plus 5x minus 6. So let's go ahead and do a quick check. I haven't done that yet, but this is the answer. We're done. Let's check the answer to make sure it really does equal what we started with. So I'm going to do box method to do that. You can do FOIL if you want, or you can do distributive property. X minus 1, x plus 6. Let's see if that actually equals our original trinomial x squared plus 5x minus 6. Okay, here we go. Let's multiply. X times x is x squared. X times -1 is -x. X times 6 is positive 6x. And then -1 times 6 is -6. Let's add all the boxes together and we get x squared. Aren't these like terms? Let's add them. What's -x plus 6x? Isn't that positive 5x? And then last, but we got -6. Yes, that's what we started with. This is not the answer. We just checked the answer. Here's the answer up here. And we are done. Thank you.